Would he? Now the question is, would Jamie Perkins be doing all of this if his channel was banging? If his channel was actually banging, like in the last couple of months, you're seeing 100K, 200K, 40K, 20K, 30K, 50K, everything is just consistent, banging, 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 banging. Would he resort to doing this video? I don't think he would, guys. I think he was so concerned with the fact that he was losing his children in terms of making content and exploiting them, and therefore reached new lows to try and revive this stagnant channel. Okay, so Nikki Thot has spoken up, and I'm glad that she's spoken up. She's coming out with a very, very lengthy statement. We're going to break it down, guys, and get into it just bit by bit. Hey guys, it's Rob Morali. Hopefully you guys are all doing well today. Back again with another video. If you have not subscribed, click that button, guys, for daily and consistent content. Subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. It's one click, and let's get straight into this video where Nikki Thot is responding to all of these allegations. And before I get into this, I'm actually glad that she didn't do a YouTube video, because I feel like a YouTube video is a reach when children are involved. And so I think that when Jamie did that whole video, I'm just like, you've got children involved, you're uploading these videos, you've got children involved, like they're gonna see this when they get older. So I think taking that higher route works well for her, that she doesn't need to sit down and do an entire YouTube video on it. But she's written a lengthy statement. I'm gonna just read it all slowly by slowly, just get into all of it, and then we're going to break it down. I made a video responding to the allegations and was ready to press post, but for the sake of our children, I'm not going to engage in a back and forth online. I'll share context that was missing from his video and leave the subject alone. I've had no contact with him since he posted that video, nor have I threatened any legal action. Jamie removed the video simply because he saw that people were not buying his story. Interesting. I felt something wasn't right in my marriage, but I didn't know what I was experiencing. Then in June 2019, I came across a podcast where I discovered what emotional abuse was. I made the mistake of telling him that he probably was a covert narc. We're going to get into what a covert narcissism is later on. I never cheated on Jamie, and he knows that, but he was quick to run a smear campaign through the community about why we broke up. I want to make it very clear that what you witnessed was reactive. The clips you saw were carefully edited, and I didn't show what led to me smacking the phone out of his hand. Never have I punched this man or thrown heavy objects at him during our disagreements. Now, the video for me never really, what she was doing in the video was never an issue. Like, I didn't understand. And I've said this, that if you put something in my face and I'm already in an irate mood, best believe I'm coming to grab that camera out of your hand, point blank period. But she says, never have I punched this man. However, there was a text message where she was admitting to Jamie that she had punched him. So that obviously is quite odd, because you admitted to hitting him directly to him, and he's posted that. Unless he's edited that too, and guys, at this point, we don't know. I came to the house to collect some clothes and wanted a conversation, and he kept calling me a slut. I then requested that he drop the girls at a supermarket for changeover, but he said he wanted to do it at a police station instead, which is very, not court ordered. She was highly upset, did not want to, inflict trauma on her daughters. Why would you want to do this at a police station every week? He wanted to manipulate their minds and paint the picture that mum was so dangerous. I smacked the camera out of his hand because I was in a vulnerable moment. This was a pattern where he constantly records me, constantly violates me by filming without my consent. It started early at 18. I'm so sorry, but I think that it started early at 18 is very odd to me. That doesn't make sense to me. It's just because a lot of people, since Jamie has spoken up about what has gone on, for some reason, there is a significant conversation of age difference between them now that wasn't there prior to their relationship. So I'm sure she's privy to what people are saying, and is kind of using that in this, because carefully selecting when this happened at the early age of 18 can be seen as you are aiding into the conversation that people are saying that are supporting you. And I just find that to be weird. The other side of the conversation is that, maybe she's grown up. Maybe she's gotten older at the age of 33 and realized that, wait, he was filming me since I was 18. That is quite weird, and therefore that is an issue, and I've been gaslit into thinking that was not an issue, which is what happens with those who grow up quite young and are groomed and etc. So I'm looking at it at both sides of the coin. It can be either a manipulative pointing out that, she was 18, or also it could have been like, whoa, like, I was groomed. Wow, like, you were filming me constantly when I was 18, and you were XYZ. It's like me. We all know the shit that happened about me last year, and a lot of people didn't realize. And also at the time when I was even doing it, like, I was 17, 18. Specifically when it came to the race play, I was 17, 18. Those men were in their 50s. Those men were in their late 40s. Why are they asking a 17, 18-year-old to do this ridiculous stuff to jack their dicks off? It is so disgusting. The exploitation is wild, but you don't think of it at that age. When you get older and you look back on your life, you're thinking, wait, I was 17, 18. So I think she's saying the same thing here, where it started early at 18. So I think it could be seen as that. And I think it's important to put both perspectives here, because if you only put one perspective and say that she's being manipulative by writing the age, then you also are victim blaming. And we can't do that as well. So it's very important to bring both perspectives when it comes to what grooming is and etc. I just wish this conversation of grooming was there prior to this whole situation going on. Then maybe it would give me credibility in what the public are saying to an extent. I just wanted to break that down. Then when I gave birth, he posted my very personal birth vlogs without giving me any time to emotionally recover. I remember begging him to give me time with our new baby before we shared her with the world. When the cameras were rolling, Jamie was very sweet to me, but behind the lens, he was highly critical. My body after children quickly became a main topic, and he expressed that I must go back into the gym and lose skin and etc. He blamed me for everything. Nothing I could do was right. Shortly after that encounter, he tried to get a restraining order on me. Not only did he put himself down as a protected person, but after also our 2 young daughters. It was successful in obtaining that. I could not come within 200 meters of them. His mother enabled his behavior and signed as a witness that she saw me beating him in front of the children, the clip we saw of smacking the phone, and they took this evidence to court. I put a counter complaint on him, and it was up to the judge to decide. He knows there's nothing I love more than our daughters, so he used that footage to silence me. We never went before a judge. That's where they effed up. Instead, he had his lawyer present and undertaking, which conveniently included that the children could continue being filmed for YouTube. Boom. Because why are you now putting a restraining order against her, but then as part of the order, conveniently, you have to have the children keep being filmed for your YouTube channel. It also included that we couldn't mention one another on our relationships online for 12 months. We both signed it because I had no intention of making this public and didn't want to risk the chance of not seeing our girls. He's been free to speak on this since 2020. Now showing documents, not the documents, child, published on the internet by email or other electronic communication. Other conditions referred to in undertaking shall apply except other than open source or publicly available media shall apply except for creation and uploading of videos, including in Perkins and or Zoe Perkins. I never kept them from the kids. I said you can see them whenever you want. All I asked is that you stop exploiting them. I saw how it affected me in the marriage, and I didn't want our kids to suffer the same confusion because dad was totally different when the cameras were on. In 2020, Jamie messaged my sister and was trying to get me back once he saw his views were still low. Despite using the kids for the majority of his content, the views were low. I had already filed for divorce and was not changing my mind, and it was finalized in December of 2020. Since then, I've been negotiating their online presence, and I got it down to 1 video per week on every platform. I worked very hard to lower their presence and how it affects them. I initially agreed to him filming with the kids as long as they got paid. He refused that offer. Wow. He claims I was vengeful, but after I left, he stole the channel, changed the password to the business email so I couldn't work with past clients, and changed our bank details on YouTube AdSense so that the revenue from our past vlogs only went to him. He kept the vlogs for himself, leaving me with 0 memories of our children. I requested my full birth videos, but he kept them for me for 3.5 years, used it as leverage as well to get more content with the girls. Part of the reason I vlogged was to have a memory diary of our babies, but he kept these too. I even asked for footage of my sister Sarah, and he told me they were destroyed. Please keep in mind, my sister isn't alive anymore, and he had all the hard drives, and they were the only videos of her I had to look back and remember. He knew our children and my sister were sensitive spots, so he could use these 2 things against me. Interesting. Jamie's health issues never stopped him from partying with friends, going out, and etc. When I did ask for assistance, he would throw it back in my face, and that, I was the only one who wanted kids. So I find it interesting that he claims he's too sick to work a regular job. I even gave him ideas on what he could film, become an editor. I'm not limiting his capacity to earn. I simply put my foot down and said don't exploit our children for monetary gain like he did with me. Jamie kept dragging me back to court and writing complaints to my lawyers constantly. The legal fees he incurred were self-inflicted. His 40th birthday. On Jamie's birthday, the girls had the school. They mentioned dad was going to Sydney for his birthday. He was aware she had a dental emergency, so I took the next available appointment, which happened to fall on Friday. I offered for him to take them instead as it was an emergency, and he said he'd rather take them out for ice cream so he doesn't miss his flight. The appointment was 5 p.m. I picked the girls up from the local ice cream place at 4:40 and we went to an appointment. Jamie then left for the airport at 5 p.m. to catch a flight to Sydney. The dad playgroup. At this point of co-parenting, I had reached my tolerance and wanted minimal in-person contact with him for the sake of Ava and Zoe. He would always have his phone out trying to bait a disagreement with me because I didn't want them being used for content. I asked him to put Zoe in school on a Wednesday so I could avoid contact with him. It seemed like a great solution. Had there been work obligations restricting him from changing his schedule, I would completely understand. But there wasn't. Boom. Disney, I had to take legal action for my girls to even attend school at their ages. They start late, 5 or 6. Jamie wanted them to delay another year so he can milk them for views while they were in his care. I said no. We live in Australia and California was a very far flight and he had never taken them out of the country alone. I didn't want them to go, but I offered to come, but he knew if I was there, I wouldn't like him filming them as much so he made co-parenting the issue. I brought up the matter to schooling because he took me back to court and forced me to send the girls to this very expensive private school. This was his request and now I'm responsible for their expenses. Depression is not something I would ever take lightly. The comments I made on the recording audio were not okay. Before we pressed record, he was calling me crazy, said I needed psychiatric help. Threatening to take full custody of our kids, so I stooped to his level. This is not an excuse and I apologize if these statements cause offense to anyone. Long story short, this is a very manipulative and calculated attack on not only myself, but this act will also cause collateral damage to our children. This was a 4-year-old clip that will remain online forever. That part I really agree with because I don't understand. I have moved on with my life. I'm in a loving, genuine relationship and I'm finally at peace. This smear campaign was made not only to garner sympathy from his audience, but to revive a stagnant YouTube channel, sell an unreleased children's book, and completely slander my reputation. Jamie wanted revenge for me putting my foot down and restricting how often he posted girls online. It disheartens me that I need to even make these statements because most people with discernment can see it for what it was. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to read this, and to Ava and Zoe, I am so sorry. Is basically what she has said. Now, this is a damning statement, guys. But before we get into this, I really want to get into covert narcissism. Let's break this down. Covert narcissism is the more introverted sign of a narcissistic personality disorder. A covert narcissist experiences the same insecurities as an overt narcissist, but internalizes their self-importance, often while hyper-focusing on their need for attention. Some signs of a covert narcissist: superficial charm, attention seeking, lack of reliability, manipulation, the propensity to break people's boundaries, inflated sense of self-importance, self-centered, and an exaggerated sense of themselves. Now, the two that stick out for me are superficial charm and attention seeking. Evidently, throughout this entire statement, it's being reiterated that he's been trying to get content with the girls to put up online. Attention seeking. So I think a lot of people are right now, like very much even more now, Team Nikki Thot. At the same time, my opinion personally is I think that they're both just in the wrong in their own kind of ways. I don't think either one is perfect. And I think that, she basically admitting to punching him, that obviously was in text messages directly towards him. So the fact that she's now said that she has not punched him is either you believe her or not, but clearly there is evidence to prove that she did punch him. And in her statement, she's just saying I didn't. So, you need to provide proof of that, you didn't punch him because you've admitted to hitting him in evidential proof that we have seen. That does not change the fact that she did domestically hit that man. But at the same time, Jamie Perkins is not this innocent individual. And to me, comes across as very manipulative. So I think a lot of people are trying to change back their story now and be like, oh no, I'm now team. Before I was team Jamie. First and foremost, it's very normal to listen to one piece of information and then when a second piece of information comes out, you can either retract or update. That's how journalism works. That's how the news works. It's very common, and I feel like that's absolutely fine to do so, where you can change your mindset on something based on new information being available. I don't know why online world you can't change your mind. Once you said one thing, that's what it doesn't make sense. But at the same time, I still stand by the fact that her hitting him is wrong, and that is domestic abuse. And she has not provided proof that she did not hit him, if we really want to keep it a buck when it comes to that. However, Jamie Perkins is not innocent. This man comes across as very manipulative. Him even putting up the video, an hour and a half, mainly about talking about money and how he broke, and then of course deleting that video as well, is wild. Now, the video that he took of her, he's constantly filming her 24/7. I also feel like if he was constantly filming her, he would have more content to expose. If you were, we want to keep it that way. Now it's going to be interesting to see his response. I think that he probably is a covert narcissist. Absolutely. And these two are both just kind of wrong in their own ways. That's just the way I'm going to put it. She's come with documents to kind of prove stuff that he still wanted to keep the kids just to film. This is an issue that we have now with the next generation. Everybody being on social media, kids are going to be exploited on YouTube channels, on video channels. And then as you get older, there's beef between the parents, and all I care about is these children and how traumatic it is going to be for them. Am I surprised by a lot of the things that she's saying? Absolutely not. I'm glad that she's really, covered the Disney stuff, the dad playgroup stuff, the dentist stuff. That I think was something that she needed to do. The fact that he wouldn't even give her footage of her sister who had passed away is very manipulative, and at the same time, you know, was complaining about all these legal expenses of $160,000, unbeknownst to us that those high legal fees are because of you. Then you obviously wanted to force your children into a very high expensive school that she is now paying for. So it really is exposing him for how he is a covert narcissist, in my opinion. Just by even looking at the symptoms, he definitely fits that he is also quite emotionally abusive, not physical, it's emotional. And therefore, sometimes you can't see it because of a lot of superficial charm and self-importance that he applies to himself, and the fact that he got there first. So it's not about retracting its statement. It's just about looking at it from a different perspective, and that, you know, Nikki Thot just isn't this evil woman and he's this damsel in distress, which is how he initially painted it. He's also very much emotionally manipulative as well. They're both manipulative in their own ways. That is just how I see it, and we're just going to wrap this up. But I'm glad that she spoke up. I'm also glad that she did not do a video, because I think when you have children involved, it's quite unnecessary to do so. I'm glad that she spoke out. And, you know, the fact that he didn't really want this divorce in the first place and wanted to come back at it because he realized his channel was low. Would he? Now, the question is, would Jamie Perkins be doing all of this if his channel was banging? If his channel was actually banging, like in the last couple of months, you're seeing 100K, 200K, 40K, 20K, 30K, 50K, everything is just consistent, banging, 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 banging. Would he resort to doing this video? I don't think he would, guys. I think he was so concerned with the fact that he was losing his children in terms of making content and exploiting them, and therefore reached new lows to try and revive this stagnant channel. I think everything that Nikki Thot is saying in her statement is true. But at the same time, I also think that she did, you know, physically hit that man as well. And therefore, she's not this damsel in distress either. They're just both in the wrong. So it's not about going more one way than the other way. They're both just not right for each other, clearly. Both quite manipulative. But at the same time, I feel like Jamie Perkins, as a grown man, putting up a video of your wife and kids online on the internet is not the right thing to do. Like, you have a responsibility whether you're in a relationship anymore or not, especially for your children. But again, I don't think he was putting his children first. He wanted to put the views first, the attention, you know, all of that wanted to come first as well. And discussing that he's now an Uber driver because of his health issues. Well, you're going out, you're having fun, you're drinking, you're XYZ. So what, you're traveling to Sydney and etc. So what health issues do you have that need to put you in this position? And clearly you could have been a video editor. She also states that there is no legal action that she's putting up against him. So he deleted that video on his own accord because he knew that the storyline was beginning to change to an extent where everybody was not buying what he was trying to sell. Granted, I'm sure that Nikki perhaps did hit him. She admitted it. There's evidence of it. That video within itself, to me, is not damaging with what she was doing. Her weaponizing her children against him. You know, you're never going to see my kids. You're never going to see my kids. That is extremely manipulative, guys. I think people are forgetting that. You can't weaponize your kids against your own partner. That is insane. So she's still wrong and manipulative herself. But he's also extremely emotionally manipulative. He's trying to use the kids against, and it's absolutely insane that a grown man came to this point of his career, became lazy, didn't know what to do. The kids, the views, it's not banging, he needs attention, and he ends up doing all of this stuff. He tried to prevent that divorce so that he could keep the family together for the money. That's how hooked people get onto views, that they end up ruining everything around them. Now the man's got nothing, he ain't got no views, and now he's an Uber driver every single day making barely any money and looks absolutely worse for wear, all because of what he was so exhausted in doing. Whereas she's gone, she's in a relationship, her channel is still doing great, so she is still doing fine, and where she is at. Is Jamie Perkins going to respond to this? We don't know, guys. We don't know. I think that he probably will say something or do something in some kind of way, but you know, he got there first before her, and I'm glad that she came out with a statement. I'm just so glad. This is just a mess, guys. I feel like they're just both a mess at this point. Like, I don't know what you want me to say at this point. I feel like Nikki was wrong for what she did to him, and I also feel like, you know, Jamie Perkins is extremely emotionally manipulative from the information that we've seen, and you know, it does correlate with him being a covert narcissist. So I feel like, you know, he's just as, if not even more weird to me, to be honest with you. And him deleting that video was very weird, because why would you even upload it? It's just odd. And then her friends coming out to shade him, apparently the neighbor, if that's true, also come out to shade him. It doesn't look good for him right now, to be honest with you. It really doesn't. Now, whether her stuff was reactive or not, it doesn't justify you putting hands on somebody. She just said that she hasn't, but there's proof of. I keep saying proof because on his side, he's supplied the proof. She's just saying I didn't do it. So I don't know what you want to take from that. But at the same time, him saying you need psychiatric help, you're a slut, you're all this, that, all of that is a lot of emotional abuse. And I wish that she had recorded it. At this point of all the stuff that he's been recording, I wish that she did for some kind of level. But clearly, why are you even recording in the first place? Why are you recording all of this stuff? Some people do it because they are being abused and they want to track everything down from a narc. That's what they do. But at the same time, go to your therapist, go to a lawyer, you know what I mean? Which is what he did, and then he used that video as a restraining order against her. It is very manipulative, and she said it's an attack on me. Make of this what you will. A lot of you guys are buying her statements, a lot of you guys are not buying her statements. Whatever you guys think, comment down below. Do you guys agree or disagree with what I'm saying? Do you guys think that, you know, she's more in the wrong or he's more in the wrong? I think that basically this has shown and highlighted Jamie's emotionally manipulative and abusive patterns of behavior, which we needed to see in this whole conversation. So, as I said throughout the entire saga, that what she's about to say isn't going to change the fact that she did punch him, because she admitted to that. The only thing you can say to support her whilst waiting for her is, I want to wait to see what she says. That's the only statement you can make in terms of, I want to know what's going on here. Just to see, because this guy, he ain't no damsel in distress, and now we know. Let me know your thoughts are when it comes to this video, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Click that button for daily and consistent content. Subscribe. This is a very long video. I didn't mean to break it down like this, so apologies. My videos are quite short anyways. They're not long like this. So sorry, guys, and I will catch you guys soon for another video.